This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Heather Sells. The number of new coronavirus cases is growing exponentially around the globe as the U.S. struggles to test for the virus. This morning, markets in Europe, Asia, and the U.S. plunged as uncertainty around its future continues. Right now, more than 127,000 people are infected worldwide, and more than 4,700 have died. Most of the cases are in China, South Korea, Iran, and Italy. Last night, President Trump spoke to the nation about what's happening. CBN's Jenna Browder has more on that and U.S. efforts to contain the virus.
In his speech to the nation, President Trump announced his dramatic action against the coronavirus, sweeping travel restrictions on 26 European countries.
We made a life-saving move with early action on China. Now we must take the same action with Europe.
Beginning Friday, travel from Europe to the U.S. will be suspended for 30 days, the United Kingdom not included. Trump also announced emergency action to give financial aid to workers.
This will be targeted for workers who are ill, quarantined, or caring for others due to coronavirus.
This includes deferring tax payments for people and businesses and a payroll tax cut. The tax cut, though, is unpopular with Democrats. This as stocks fall into a bear market, and amid concerns about the virus's impact on the economy, evidence of that already being seen in some parts of Europe, as Chuck Holden reports for CBN.
I'm at London Heathrow this morning, and this place is a ghost town. I mean, empty. Usually this is practically standing room only in here the last few times I've been here, and it is absolutely empty. My plane has so many seats open that they could probably put everybody on the plane in business class if they wanted to.
This as top health officials warn about the speed of the spread and the need to move quickly to contain it.
It is 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu. I think that's something that people can get their arms around and understand.
Dr. Anthony Fauci testifying on Capitol Hill. When asked to give an estimate on the number of cases, he says it depends on the government's response and warns without aggressive action, we could see millions more cases. The World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus a global pandemic, meaning the virus is spreading widely.
We're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction.
And now actor Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson have tested positive. The couple is under quarantine in Australia.
Anything that has large crowds is something that would give a risk to spread.
Fauci says even if that means no crowds at NBA games, so be it. But the NBA went further, suspending its season Wednesday night after a player tested positive. And now college basketball is also taking action to avoid large crowds at its tournament games. Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Our health reporter Lori Johnson is here now to help us unpack the latest. So, Lori, Dr. Fauci, who we just saw in that story, he's saying that this coronavirus is 10 times deadlier than the flu. How do we understand that? What does that mean for all of us?
Well, it actually is true, and that's a very shocking statement because we've been hearing so much lately that, oh, so many people die from the flu, and that's true. 20,000 people have died from the flu, but the actual death rate of the flu is 0.1%, whereas the death rate from the coronavirus is 1%. That's 10 times higher. So what that means in actual numbers is, well, for example, we have a country of 360 million people. Let's just say, for example, hopefully, prayerfully, this won't happen, but let's just say a third of the country gets the coronavirus. That's about 100 million people. The death rate is 1%. That's 1 million deaths. That's unacceptable. And I think Fauci was making the point that that is exactly why we all need to do what we can right now to contain this before it gets to that level.
Is it possible that that death rate could go down because we still don't know how many cases we have?
Absolutely. And a lot of experts are saying that that might actually be the case because the more cases we uncover, the more mild cases we will uncover, and that's going to drive that death rate down. So that that is the hope and, again, the prayer. But right now, the death rate is hovering around 1%.
The European travel ban, of course, is very controversial politically, but from a health perspective, could it make a difference?
Absolutely. And so what we're seeing now, the reason that the United States put this health ban on from travelers from Europe is because Europe has 70% of the new cases. When the cases were strictly confined to China, we put that ban on travelers from China, and it really bought us a lot of time. But other countries, for example, European countries, did not. And so what we soon saw later is a lot of cases in Europe. So now that area is exploding with new cases. And what we've seen is people in the United States are getting the coronavirus because of travel to Europe. And so that was what the cause of that ban for Europe. But we should point out that Americans in Europe can come back at any time. They will have to be quarantined for 14 days.
Okay. And I want to ask you, too, it's so interesting to see this all playing out, so sobering. But yesterday, so much seemed to happen. We had universities closing. We had Tom Hanks saying he had it. We had March Madness going away. Do you think that Americans are really starting to digest what is happening, and perhaps that'll result in more hygiene, more social distancing?
Right. We can only hope so, because we've really seen two phases of this. The one phase was when it spread beyond China. That was a huge wake-up call. And now, when we've seen everything in the United States start shutting down, this gets very personal. When you can't watch your favorite team, when your kid is coming home from college, and when, A-list celebrities are getting it. And yes, hopefully this is a wake-up call for people who weren't thinking it was that serious before, and now they're thinking, wow, this really is serious, and maybe they'll start taking action, because that's what we really need, is for every single one of us to do what we can to avoid getting sick and avoid getting other people sick.
Yeah, so many ramifications. Lori Johnson, thanks for your insights.
My pleasure.
Well, universities across the country are responding to this call to avoid large groups of people, and more than 100 schools, including Christian colleges like Wheaton, have shifted to online classes, and many are asking students to leave their dorms on campus. Bianca Kilaughton, education reporter for Politico, has been covering this and joins us now with more. Bianca, thanks for joining us. We know that all universities, of course, are spending a lot of time right now trying to think about how to address this. But for those that are switching to online and even closing their dorms, what does this mean for students? What are they working through?
It feels like the American college experience, how it is traditionally, has been really upended by this coronavirus. And so what we're seeing is that schools are canceling classes and moving them all online. College students are moving out of their dorms. And so there's a lot of fears surrounding what's next for college students. They want to know what's going to happen with the rest of their semester, with their units, with their financial aid. And some are actually worried about how they'll even get home. There was one college in Kentucky, Berea, that actually announced that it's canceling the rest of the semester completely starting Friday. So there's a bunch of students right now scrambling to find flights to get home.
And I want to ask you, too, we know this has consequences for international students who come to the U.S. to study. What does the coronavirus mean for them in the short term and for the U.S., too, in the long term?
So right now, the United States is the #1 provider of study abroad programs for international students. Every year, we get the most international students coming to our colleges. And actually, they're a huge part of our economy. Higher education is one of the biggest things that we give other countries, and we actually get the most students from China every year. Right now, we've seen a lot of closures in admissions tests. So like the ACT and SAT that were supposed to be administered this month and next month, they've been canceled. And so those are key things that you need to have in order to be admitted into colleges. So our economy desperately, for higher education purposes, needs those students to keep coming. And if the quarantine continues, I don't know if they will.
Right. Well, and I'm curious, what do you expect going forward? Do you expect to see more schools switching to online? What is the outlook at this point?
So right now, there's over 100 colleges and universities that have decided to make the shift to move all their classes online. And we're seeing more and more actually announced today. The University of Chicago earlier this morning rolled out their announcement saying, hey, we're canceling all of our in-person classes to mitigate the spread of this virus. And so I think throughout the week, more and more colleges will continue to follow in those steps.
All right, Bianca, education reporter with Politico, thank you so much for your time and insights.
Thank you.
Well, please do stay with us for the latest on the coronavirus as we continue to provide updates right here on the CBN News channel and on CBNnews.com. Not only has the stock market been falling hard in the last few weeks, oil and gas prices have plunged as well, and they are still down today, with the benchmark West Texas Intermediate crude selling around $31 a barrel today. To put that into context for you, the price had been over $60 a barrel at the start of the year, and it was still selling over $40 a barrel before the price collapsed Sunday. Oil prices are now at their lowest level in 4 years. And we're joined now by Todd Staples, the president of the Texas Oil and Gas Association. Todd, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you today. Wish it was better circumstances.
Absolutely. We know that this is an extremely challenging time for oil and gas producers with the price of oil. What are you hearing right now from producers? What are their concerns?
Well, make no mistake, we are in a very unique situation with the world health pandemic that's occurring that is shrinking demand, all while supply has been increasing. And so it's pushed the price point for the production of oil and natural gas to just uneconomic proportions. And as a result, companies are making significant changes this year. They are reducing capital expenditures. They had plans for rigs to be out exploring and producing oil and natural gas. And those plans have been reduced significantly as a result of this contraction that we're experiencing.
We know that there's concerns, of course, about the length of this contraction and that this downturn in prices could turn some out of business, and that the White House is considering federal assistance. Could that make a difference?
Well, we don't know the length and the duration of this situation. We know that OPEC is scheduled to meet in June. They could meet as early as May. If they meet earlier, I think it's a good sign that OPEC and their partners are recognizing that the oversupply is working against everyone in the world, since it is such a global market. I don't know. I think my federal counterpart has indicated that industry is not looking at a bailout from our federal government, although we know that general business climate needs to be a situation that makes it where capital is attracted to the United States rather than going other countries where production could occur.
How long do you see oil producers being able to stay in business with the low prices? What is the key price that they need to stay in business?
Well, I think to have a healthy system, $50 to $60 oil is what most economists and analysts indicate. So at a reduced level, it certainly is constricting on growth. At this price point, it is going to be one of a period of contraction. We know that our companies are strong. We know that we have good resources here. We know that oil and natural gas is indispensable part of our daily lives. And so we think that just as in times past, that industry is nimble and it's responsive. They will contract while these price points are low. And as we see movement and as we see changes, they can respond accordingly.
In terms of the ripple effect, how the energy sector intersects with the rest of the economy, how do you see this all affecting gas prices for everyday Americans, and what other effects might take place that we all might see?
Well, consumers certainly should experience more favorable prices at the consumer level, but there are a lot of parts that goes to getting oil produced and then converted to gasoline in our refineries and then being delivered to your local convenience store. The good news is there's ample supply. The industry is strong. It has the upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors, all that work in a very coordinated fashion to deliver the products that consumers rely upon. And so there are, base cost of delivering those products that will still be in play. But I think consumers will be experiencing historically low prices. But these prices are not healthy for our overall economy. Oil and natural gas in Texas last year paid in excess of $16 billion in state and local taxes and royalties. These dollars fund our schools, they fund our universities, they fund road construction. And so with the activity level being lower this year, you're going to see a lower level of revenue and a lower number of jobs, and that's not a healthy situation. So I think everyone would recognize a price point where good things happen and employment can occur is certainly healthy for the entire economy.
All right, well, I know a lot of people are watching this situation very concerned. Todd Staples with the Texas Oil and Gas Association, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Heather.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN NewsWatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today. Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening.
My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
St. Patrick's Day is around the corner, and CBN Films tells the true story of St. Patrick in a docudrama, I Am Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. And we're honored to have the movie's writer, producer, and director here with us today. Gerry Anderson, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, I think some of us have heard, oh, St. Patrick, he actually was a missionary. But what was it about his story that you thought really warranted a full docudrama?
I think the thing that really stuck out to me personally was I got online, I found his own writings, they still exist to this day, from the 5th century, and I read them and I was so moved because it's like such personal, relatable, this man who is St. Patrick, I found him relatable, inspiring in his faith, and I couldn't believe I'd never even heard of this or heard about who this person was. All I had heard was about the myths and the legends.
Now, what is he saying in his letters that inspired you? Was he talking about the hardship or his faith? What was he saying?
I think he was vulnerable and real about the challenges that he faced with his mission, bringing the gospel to Ireland. He was opposed by the church back in Britain, and I think reading just how he's struggling, there was a dark sin of his that was exposed. And he never tells us what it is, but we know that it was used against him. And he even said, I've repented of this, and they used it against him. And you could tell this man was so distraught over this. Mm-hmm. And you just see such a human person and such a real person. And that was really this isn't the St. Patrick I've heard of.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In spite of that and all those hardships, it sounds like he was able to be, quote unquote, very successful in ministry, that a lot of people came to Christ because of him. Is that a fair characterization?
I think so. He says in his own words that he baptized thousands. I mean, it could be tens of thousands. We don't know, but we know he baptized thousands. And we know he caused enough of a stir in Ireland that it got the church back in Britain, it got their attention. So we know he made a big impact in Ireland.
Now, this is a docudrama, so you're weaving together expert interviews and also enactments of his life. Tell us about filming in Ireland. It sounds like you felt God was providing you even while you were in the midst of filming.
Yeah, it was, 90% of the film is the reenactments, and I don't even really call them reenactments. It's more of a film. And so, we did all this filming all on the west coast of Ireland, and, Ireland's kind of known for raining. And when you're filming outside a lot like we were, it can be challenging. And there were several times where we just were really like, it's going to rain, we got to reschedule, and it was just like, no, we didn't have choice. We didn't have a choice. We had to film. And I remember just telling my producer one time, it's not going to rain. We're going to be fine. Because I knew God got us this far. He's going to take us the rest of the way. And we never got rained out one day.
In Ireland, of all places.
Yes, exactly.
And the crew, I'm sure, was thinking, okay, what's going on? God's at work here.
Even at the end, they were saying, I cannot believe we never got rained out. We've never seen this happen before.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like Patrick is such an encouraging and inspiring story, so I'm excited to see the movie. Gerry Anderson, thanks for telling us about it.
Thanks for having me.
I Am Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, hits theaters March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and March 18th for 2 nights only. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to iampatrick.com to see showtimes and reserve your seats. Coming up, how churches in Florida are coming together to share the gospel across the world.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
More than 100 churches in Florida recently kicked off an event called Explore God Miami. It's part of a global outreach inviting people to ask questions about God and faith. As Charlene Aaron shows us, millions are being reached with the gospel through this ministry.
Everyone has questions about God, the Bible, just life. One ministry is uniquely poised to answer these spiritual questions and help people explore, experience, and engage God's plan for their lives.
ExploreGod.com is the brainchild of Jamie Radke, who is also the group's president. At a time when the internet offers so much information, she says many also use it to search for meaning and purpose.
When we did our research, we could see that there were over 2 million searches taking place every single day on a daily basis on questions related to who is God, who is Jesus, what is the Bible, what is Easter. It's like 2 million a day. And so it is a massive mission field.
So far, more than 15 million people, including Muslims from some 80 countries, have connected to its website and Facebook pages, discussing everything from who is Jesus to why does God allow suffering. A team of theologians, pastors, and volunteers from around the world provide answers from the Bible to those who submit questions.
We're talking about issues that the people who are asking versus what the church wants to talk about. A lot of times churches say, this is what we want you to care about, but people are in a different place.
While the site offers discipleship and outreach material, another ministry component takes place offline in cities across the country. Explore God Miami is the latest example. Running through March 21st, organizers say it's Miami's largest evangelistic outreach since Billy Graham held a crusade in 1949. Hundreds of local churches from 18 different denominations are involved.
When we partner with churches and ministries, they agree to talk on 7 different topics over 7 weeks. So the first week is, what is my purpose and meaning in life? The second week is there even a God? And does God allow pain and suffering? And then we talk about Jesus and the Bible, and we end up with the last week being, can I know God personally?
Momentum ramped up when Clark Hunt, chairman and CEO of Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, offered his support.
It's had a wonderful impact. We're so grateful for his endorsement. As you know, the Super Bowl was in Miami, and he won, and he saw the ads, and we've had over 45,000 people just in the Miami area in the last few months come to our website based on his support and the work that's going on in Miami.
In the end, Radke says Explore God exists to meet people where they are, both online and beyond, for the purpose of guiding them to the truth, one question and answer at a time.
People really are genuinely hungry to get their questions answered and engage in, not in preaching, but to engage in conversation.
Absolutely. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Heavenly Father, we do thank you for the work of your Spirit, Lord God, with this movement of getting the Bible, Lord, into public schools.
Watch The Prayer Link, Tuesday nights at 6:30.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Protect your sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
And that's it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember that you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Please tell us what you think about the stories that you've seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. Thanks so much for joining us.